STEMusic. People gotta know. Call it STEMusic. We gon' make it flow. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic.
We call it STEMusic indeed. Welcome to the STEMusic Podcast Next Generation, where we highlight students interested in STEM and the music they love. I'm your host, Roy Moy III, and today we have two incredible guests on this podcast. One of our guests is a freshman mechatronics engineering student, while the other guest is a freshman computer science student. And guess what? They are both at Wichita State University. Go Shocks! Love it. They are also both in the Spirit Strong Scholars Program, and they are both 2023 recipients of the STEMusic Book Scholarship. STEMusic Nation, please help me welcome Cara Abbott and David Hudspeth to the STEMusic Next Generation podcast. Welcome, y'all. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
Good? Just chilling, ready to get on this podcast episode. I'm excited to have you all here. It was really special when we got in all of the applications for the STEMusic Book Scholarship, and then to actually see that you all are going to Wichita State University. One of the things that we wanted to do, and this was all inspired by the program that they have in the state of Kansas, where they're highlighting young professional leaders, and it's the Next Gen Under 30 program. And one of the things that I left that program with, being an honoree, was they kept asking, what are you doing for the state of Kansas with your business or your organization? And so we ended up pivoting our STEMusic Book Scholarship to target students who go to schools, universities in the state of Kansas. And so when you all, applied and then ultimately were selected, it's really cool to know that you're going to school in the state of Kansas, and then happen to be at Wichita State, which is where I live here in Wichita. So I'm excited we get to learn a little bit more about your story. And so the first thing that we really dive into on the podcast, as always, is how did you get into STEM? So Cara, we're going to start with you. I know you had mentioned something about your father working at a company that builds airplanes, but how did you initially get into STEM?
Well, I didn't really know anything much about STEM. Like, I didn't learn about it in school. I had to search it up myself. But I guess being first introduced was like watching the Iron Man movies.
Ah.
Yeah, I was like, what he doing? I want to do that. I was like, that looks cool. And I don't know. I just find it so interesting how you can just create something out of nothing. Like, look at a computer. You can literally take like raw materials from the earth and you have signals and stuff. I just find that interesting. I was like, I want to do that.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So now, David, you had mentioned something which kind of cracked me up, that the family might call you IT guy or professor. So was that an entry point to how you got into STEM?
Basically, yeah. They'd always be like, hey, can you fix my phone? Can you fix my computer? Hey, my printer's down. Printer wasn't plugged up. I was like, oh my God. But I guess, and then being in church too, we have cords, we have stuff that they plug in. They won't run Wi-Fi, they run stuff to the back, to the front. So it's just always being around cords, electronics. I was like, what would this look like in my life? Then I looked up, like she said, I had to go search STEM myself, and here I am.
I love that. It's always, the early exposure of things that, whether you're seeing a parent or a mentor or being in church, like you said, and then you find out that, this is actually connected to something that I could study. And so going into that, you all both chose your majors. So tell us about how you finally got to that place. Yes, you're exploring things. You're seeing how, you could be introduced to this thing called science, technology, engineering, and math. But then it comes to the point where you're in high school and you're like, okay, I want to decide what I'm going to study in college. So how did you land on that? And David, I want to hear from you first.
The first thing I wanted to major in was business.
Okay.
Then I started taking a bunch of business classes at our high school. And then I took some concurrent credit at Friends. And the more I sat through the class, I was like, I can't do this. It's too boring. And everything was repetitive. I was like, I can't. So then I started battling with mechanical engineering. And then I looked up, it was a video, it was the difference between mechanical and computer science.
Okay.
And they said they were very similar, but there were some simple differences. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I think mechanical was more like hardware type stuff, like things you have to build, on your own. I was like, I can't do that part either. So then I realized, the more I worked with IT myself, that computer science was a way to go.
More of what you wanted to do. No,
yeah.
I love that. And man, STEMusic Nation, I'm always saying, do your Googles, do your research, right? Get on your YouTube. So it's awesome that that's so accessible nowadays. I remember when I was growing up, I was like, aerospace, I want to do something, and I'm on Ask Jeeves. Y'all probably don't even know what that is, but like these different websites trying to find just any inkling of information. And so now that it's so readily available and accessible, you can watch videos on it and the comparisons and all that. I think that's great. So Cara, same question for you. So you decide, okay, this is really cool. You can use raw materials to do different things. I got my pops who's working in the aviation industry. What led you to your major?
Well, of course, I had to do some research. So I first landed on mechanical engineering. I was like, I want to do something physical. I don't want to sit behind a desk all day.
Yeah.
I got to get up and move. Like, I like doing stuff with my hands. But I feel like mechanical, it didn't have enough for me. And then I landed on mechatronics, which is consists of computer, mechanical, and electrical. I was like, a little bit of everything. Let me go with that. So yeah, I was like, you know what? Mechatronics is a smaller branch too. So maybe if more people knew about it, they would join in and, spread it out and, have a little fun with it.
I love that. I like how you said that, a little piece of everything. And I know that's a more recent major, mechatronics engineering at Wichita State University. So it's really cool to see that you're in the program as it continues to grow. And hopefully, the industry continues to grow more in that favor, as we go on. So that is really awesome. So you both decided, okay, these are the majors I want to go into. But then you actually have to take the leap and go to college, right? You actually got to move in, or you got to, start taking those classes, the math, the science, all of that. So I'm curious to know, you're in your freshman year now. I believe you're in your second semester. How are things going? Cara, start us off. How are things going?
First semester, I'm not going to lie to you. It was a little bit rough. That Calc 1 class was, she was killing me. So
it's challenging. Yes.
Yeah, and I really wanted to take make my first semester, enjoyable experience, join a lot of clubs, but I couldn't really do that. Focus on that. I have to say I did fail the class. It's okay to, fail sometimes, and I'm taking it again. And, right now I have an A in that class, and I'm learning to, it's okay to have failure and mistakes. And I'm joining my second semester. I'm meeting new people, talking to new people, joining more clubs. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself and, enjoy it,
I love that. And by the way, thank you for being so transparent and sharing that, because I think sometimes, especially for students in STEM or in engineering in particular, it's supposed to be challenging, right? It's supposed to be hard, especially just depending on the experience, background, all of that. And sometimes it's like, well, I have to be perfect on this journey. And I remember one of my mentors told me when I first started at Wichita State, hey, I didn't pass fundamentals of atmospheric flight on my first try. And I was like, what? Like, this is a brilliant person that I'm talking to, a brilliant mentor. But it gave me the confidence and the reassurance that if I ever ran into something that I didn't pass or didn't, make the grade, that I just need to keep going. And actually, I got to dynamics. So that was the class for me, where I, after the final, I just tanked. It did not go well. And I did not pass that class the first time. And I was devastated, of course, but I remembered that mentor. And so I share that with you right now in this moment, that I did not pass that class my first try, but I said, okay, you got to get up. You got to take that class again and persevere through it. And the second time around, I think I ended up getting a B+ in the class, and so like you said, you have an A right now. And so it really is about that perseverance, and that people need to know, students in particular need to know that can be a part of the journey. Doesn't mean it's going to be everybody's journey, but it can be a part of it. And the biggest thing to remember is to persevere and get back up, get back on that horse and go, to complete that. So that really awesome job with that. Now, David, same thing for you. Freshman year, how's it been going? What's it been feeling like?
It's going. That's all I can say. The first semester is pretty cool. I guess I won't say it was easy, but I learned to manage my time. But then once those finals and stuff came around, I got lackadaisical. And I was like, I'm just going through the motions. And I was like, man, I might fail a class. I didn't fail the class, thank God. But I was like, man. But now fast forward to the second semester, it's kicking my butt.
It gets challenging, these classes, and they just pile up. But, I think it's, so that's good. The perseverance won through the first semester, but, just continuing to seek out that, help. I know Geeks at Wichita State. I mean, saving grace for me. Shout out to Geeks. It's a tutoring organization that students, can access. So absolutely. But just continuing to persevere through it. And, one thing I always say too is talk to those professors.
Oh yeah.
Who is making the exams? I used to say that all the time in college. Who is making the exams? It's not me. It's not my friends. It's the professors, and it's not to try to, get over on them, but it's more of, hey, here's what I'm working on. That's what I would always do. Here's what I'm working on. Here's the problems that I've practiced. Here's, the work that I've done. This is where I'm getting stuck. How can you help me as I'm moving forward? And I was able to form great relationships with professors because they understood, okay, Roy's going to work hard, but if he gets stuck, he's going to come and ask for that support. And fortunately, many of them were very supportive of it. So, well, that's good. I mean, by the way, this sounds like a perfectly normal answer to how freshman year is going. So I want you to know that it's regular. Engineering is hard, and it's supposed to be, right? Like we have to make sure things are designed correctly, created correctly, all of that within the fields that we're working in. So really, really cool. So now we're going to kind of cast to the future. We're talking about the present of like how freshman year is going, right? But now let's imagine you have, graduated with that degree. You are now a professional. What is your hope? So we'll start with you, David. What's your hope with your computer science degree? What do you want to be doing?
I hope to come out on the IT side, or if I have to be a software programming or engineering, then I'll be fine with that. But I'm, cruise through where I'm at. But as the time goes on, I want to open like my own STEM academy building, mentor the younger generation, show them like that is possible, and just teach them necessary life skills like leadership, what they can do, teach them how to ask questions, how to be confident. And hopefully, if all goes well, then that's where I'll be for the rest of my life.
I love that. I mean, that's what STEMusic is all about. So
shoot,
you might need to be joining the team. Okay. But no, I love that. That's awesome. And that's where you want to be, but also that you kind of have the awareness of like, hey, I would love to give back, at some point, yes, I got to persevere through this journey and do what I need to do, but that I want to give back in the end. That's really awesome. So how about you, Cara? So mechatronics engineering, where do you see that? Are you going to be designing the next Iron Man or Iron Woman suit?
Yes, it's going to be me.
I love that.
Yeah, pushing off of what David said, I was thinking about starting my own little academy. Great minds think alike.
There we go. There we go.
Might be a little collab here, okay?
But if I can't do that, I was thinking about being a research and design engineer. Just to pitch forward ideas. I got a lot of ideas, and I, want people to know about them. Maybe bring it to life. If I can't do that, maybe go into robotics because I like how robots work. Hopefully they don't take over the world.
Yeah, true.
But they intrigue me, so I'll see where life takes me. So I'm not in a rush. But
Yeah. No, that's really awesome. I love to do that. Even me as a student, because you want to be living in the present, right? Because all we have is right now. But at the same time, I'm a dreamer, and so I just be stuck out in the future sometimes. Roy, come back, Roy. But I love that both of you kind of have that awareness. It's cool. See, now you both know that you were thinking about a STEM academy.
I know.
So as you go through your career, that's something you all know that you have in common, and maybe that's a partnership to start in the future. Who knows? Maybe STEMusic at some point, by the time y'all graduate, we will have some sort of academy as well. I don't know, but that's really cool. And I love the fact that you want to lean into those designs for different, robotics or research and development. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. That's the cool thing about the city of Wichita is it is an engineering hub. And so there's a lot. We're an aviation hub, of course, but, we got a biomedical campus that's coming, like a lot of new things. And so the industry is growing here. And so there's that opportunity for you to kind of express that love for engineering and design, and even IT, right? Every business, every company is going to need that infrastructure, and more now than ever, right? Like it's something that's getting more complex. We have the introduction of AI. I mean, all of that stuff is very important. So y'all gonna have some jobs when you graduate. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So no, I love that. Well, this has been good to just know a little bit about your backgrounds, where you are right now, where you might, want to be in the future. But one of the things we love to do on the STEMusic podcast is talk about a person's journey, people, where they're at in their careers. But we also love to talk about music, right? It can't be the STEMusic podcast without talking about music. Right. So I have asked both of you what 2 songs you wanted to submit. I think the mutual response was like 2 songs out of all these songs that I listened to in my life. So David, we'll start with you, and then Cara will pick up with you on the songs you chose. So what I plan to do is I'll read the title, the artist, and then I'm going to, I took the time to listen to the songs and really try to reflect on what they meant to me. Have I heard them before? and then share like 3 to 5 bullet points, and then I'll pitch it to you and say, why did you choose the song?
Okay.
All right. So here we go. So for David, your first song was Manifest by Jonathan Nelson. And STEMusic Nation, what I should say is they trying to take me out with these songs, okay? I'm over here trying to prepare for the podcast, got me crying, got me shouting, right? So Manifest by Jonathan Nelson, gospel artist. So here's what I wrote. Beautiful harmonies. Oh my gosh. Beautiful harmonies in song. Powerful words. I decree and declare it. And it had me thinking like, okay, this is a really special year for me of taking some steps forward with STEM music. And so it just made me think like manifest, that's what the title of the song is. And it made me think of a scripture, life and death is in the tongue. And so just, man, it was such a good reminder of like, I need to be focused on what I'm saying, what I'm believing as I move forward in pursuit of all the things I would like to accomplish this year. It's mine. Oh, that part of the song. I was standing up at that point. I was like, it's mine. It's mine. And I am what God designed me to be. I really love that too. So it was just a powerful experience. Why did you choose this song?
That song I first heard during COVID, like right when the world shut down. So like my world like crashed, and I was like, what do I do, Then I had tuned into New Birth just randomly like a Sunday morning. I was like, oh, what are they singing? Then I heard the words. I was in my room. I was just bawling. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then like as the year went on, I just started singing it to myself. It's mine, like you say. I decree, I declare, that I will get better, that life and death is in the power of the tongue, like you said. So it's just the words have power, and that song is powerful.
Man, I'm telling you, see, STEMusic Nation, I was trying my best. They had me crying. This next one was also a great song too. And a nice contrast, from kind of like that praise and worship sound to Jonathan McReynolds and Molly music. And so the song is called Enough. And it said, it says in the song, his heart, God's heart is big enough. You will always be loved. Like, it's such a powerful message of like, sometimes, especially like in the world of Christianity or the gospel industry, or just growing up as a Christian, a believer, in Jesus, it's like, sometimes I'm like, ooh, I done messed up. Like, I'm unlovable. I can't move forward. And so just to hear the words like his heart is big enough, like you will always be loved. There's nothing you can do that will separate you. I mean, that's a biblical scripture, right? But there's nothing that you can do to separate you from the love of God. And that was really powerful. The message is very uplifting. Perfection is not needed. So it's just a reminder to me of like, sometimes we go through life or I'm going through life trying to be perfect, knowing that I can't, and so just kind of let that go. I put powerful music. And then this was a great memory. Both of those artists, Jonathan McReynolds and Molly Music, have a song called Moving On. Yep. And they won a Grammy for it. And so just to see both of those artists who've been in the game for a minute celebrated in that way. So that's what it reminded me of. So why did you choose this song?
That was a collab I never knew I needed. Molly Music and Jonathan McReynolds. I was like, wow. I think the album came out, or the song came out about 2 years ago. Okay. 2 or so years ago. I can't remember. It was during the February, so Black History Month. Yeah. It was rough. Like, I was going through it. Then one day I was just crying. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. And I came across that song, and it just played over and over, like, you're enough, like, what you've done or what you will do, like, it doesn't matter. God's heart is big enough. He'll accept you for who you are, what you've done, and he'll forget it all, and you'll be enough. So it's a powerful song. I listen to it all the time.
I love that. One thing I love to call out about both of you all is, just as I'm thinking about like the younger generations coming up, it's like the way that y'all are open enough and in tune with your emotions to express them. We have all three said, I was crying, I was this, I was that, right? But like, I think that's a powerful thing and a beautiful thing for, people to see that, as you're going through an engineering or STEM degree, as you're going through life, that it's okay to embrace those emotions. And clearly, we're using the power of music to help us get through. And so I think this is a perfect transition into your songs. And you really try to take me out. Y'all, I listened to them like right before we started filming. And the first one is Can't Give Up Now by Mary Mary. Like, I can feel the tears coming. Yeah. We're not gonna cry. I mean, we might cry, right? I just talked about being open with emotions, so we might. But, oh, Cara, you took me back. You actually took me back to college and, struggling through my aerospace engineering degree because it is hard. That's the thing. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it can't be done. Yeah. And why am I getting emotional right now? This is because that song is so special. Yeah. And so I think of the things I wrote was encouragement. I definitely used this song to get me through college. Several nights of studying, several nights of like what's gonna happen. Mary Mary, they're legends. I thought of that, like just how they changed gospel music, with the beats and the way the sound, the mothers of the church was like, what y'all playing back there? Is that Jesus music or not? We're like, no, they're talking about God. They, take the shackles off, right? And then James Cleveland, right? It's a sample of James Cleveland, No Ways, I Feel No Ways Tired. So that's the original. And so it just makes me think of that song too. And then the last thing I put was them key changes at the end. When they keep taking that song up, it gives you the hope that you need. So why did you choose this song?
Definitely, I guess like 2020 to the present time, there was times like, I really wanted to give up. I didn't want to keep moving on. But again, like you said, like if I give up now, I mean, where am I going to go accomplish in the future? How am I going to get stronger? And, troubles and tribulations, they don't always last. You got to move, through it. And sometimes when I'm feeling a little down, I play their little songs like, you know what, I can do this. I could take over the world now.
Yes.
I can do my homework and get an A. I got a B, but I tried. Yes. But I love that song. It really touches my heart. It's one of my favorites, definitely.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Like it's not like a song with multiple key changes at the end that when you're done and you're crying, you got snot, you all kind of crazy, but you're like, okay, come on, Cal, let's go. Let's get these derivatives done. Like, let's go with this integration. We're going to get this done, right? I love that. So then your second song and final song was The Storm Is Over Now. Once again, trying to take me out. Mr. Kirk Franklin, a legend in the gospel industry. Someone who's just done an incredible job of being transparent, but also carrying the gospel to so many audiences, not just in the church, outside the church. I wrote, I feel like I can make it. Another declaration. Like I just felt like another declaration that even there's a saying in the church, you got to see it before you see it, Yeah. And that's what this song reminded me of. Like maybe I'm singing the song, The Storm is over now, but maybe it's actually not over, but it's calling a belief out of me, right? It's calling a declaration that I'm going to see it before I see it, that this storm is going to be over. And then the choir, he's known for his arrangements and all the choir. And even at the end with their little ums that they was doing at the end, it was just beautiful. And lastly, a lot of times when I'm hearing music or even singing music, I get very visual with it. Like there's like a picture that goes along with it or whatever. And it just reminded me of like a big, I mean, that's probably kind of where the writing was coming from, but this storm is over now. So a huge storm. And then, at the very end of a storm, it's just that light rain. And it's like, that's what I feel when I listen to that song. It's just that light rain that's kind of coming down right at the end of a crazy, tornado, lightning, thunder, all that stuff. Right. And so it was very good to listen to that and be reminded that when we are in these tough times that we can kind of call that out. So why did you choose the song?
Definitely like The Storm Is Over Now. Like I feel like my storm is over now for like, struggling through that first semester. And also like it kind of gives me hope for the future. Like even though you're struggling, we may have some bad days. You feel like, why am I even here on earth? I didn't ask to be here, but that storm will pass. It's probably just teaching you a lesson. Maybe it's going help you in the future. Maybe you can help somebody else who has the same problem. Be like, you know what? I had the same storm, but again, it's going to pass.
Man, that's good. That's good. Using it to help someone else. Or I love what you said, man. And I don't like this in the moment. God be like, God, really? But you said something so powerful. It's to teach you something.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I struggle with like in the moment of the pain, like, this a lesson, God? What we doing?
Yeah.
So that's powerful because I think when I do look back, I'm like, yeah, all of the struggle, all of the pain, all of those hard moments that I've had in life, they've taught me something, and have made me a better person if I chose to like lean into whatever that lesson was. So I love that. This was powerful. Once again, y'all gonna have me shouting and running around this podcast studio, but I really appreciate y'all being here. We're coming to a close of the podcast episode, but the reason why you all are here today is because you are STEMusic Book Scholarship winners, and that was something that my team and I wanted to start when we first founded STEMusic in the fall of 2019. That first spring in 2020, when the world was, going crazy and shutting down, we were like, yeah, we want to do something from the very beginning where we are giving back to students and, trying to support them. Now in the future, can't wait for these scholarships to be even bigger. But we said, what about book scholarships? You can always, I live by this phrase, do what you can with what you have right where you're at, and so you can always do something. And so we were, like I said in the beginning, very excited that you all applied and that you were ultimately selected. And you're Shockers, I'm biased, I'm at Wichita State, so you're Shockers. But I'm curious, David, how did you hear about the scholarship?
It was after my business class at Friends. I had got an email from our guidance counselor.
Okay.
I think that's what she was, the guidance counselor, and it said STEM music. And I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it, and I scrolled down, and I seen something about an HBCU thing. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm not going to HBCU. I'm staying in town. So as I just read it, I was like, whoa, this is actually a STEM and music type scholarship. So I was like, I have to apply right now. I sat there in my car an hour. I just applied. I was like, this has to be done right now.
Not in the car.
Yeah,
Wow.
This had to be done.
We don't be knowing this. This is awesome. I love that.
I didn't want to procrastinate it at all. I had to do it.
I'm glad you did. So what about you, Cara?
So I was in school and I was part of this program called Gear Up. I still am. This is their last year with me, and they help students, transfer over to college. And they had a little scholarship writing class, and me and my friend were there. She was like, Cara, you're going into STEM, right? Yeah. I was like, yeah, engineering. She's like, look at this scholarship. I was like, oh, okay, $250. Is money good?
Come on.
I need that.
Every little bit helps.
Hey, I used that money to pay for my books last semester, so I'm good with that. So I applied for it. I like how simple it was, and it kind of intrigued me. I was like, I really didn't think about STEM into music. Oftentimes when you think of STEM, you think about machines and computer stuff. I was like, okay, let me do a little research and let me apply for that. So that's what I did.
STEMusic Nation, if you are interested in our STEMusic Book Scholarship, guess what? We have good news. We are launching them once again, and they are starting today. So the scholarship is available today. It is a $250 STEMusic Book Scholarship, and we have two categories that you can apply in. The first is if you are a senior in high school and you plan to go to a historically Black college or university, or if you're a senior in high school and you plan to attend a university or college in the state of Kansas, all right? Now, the application deadline is May 3rd, 2024, and we plan on releasing our winners June 14th of 2024. All you have to do is go to our website at www.thestemusic.com/scholarship to apply. Once again, we have a scholarship for students who are seniors in high school that are going to an historically Black college or university as a STEM major, and a student in the state of Kansas who plans to go to a university or college in the state of Kansas studying in a STEM degree. The deadline, once again, is May 3rd, 2024, and we will release our winners June 14th, 2024. So good luck applying. All you have to do is go to the website, www.thestemusic.com/scholarship. Can't wait to see all the applications, STEMusic Nation. Tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your mentees, get them to apply right now. So I really hope that we get a whole bunch more applicants for the STEMusic Book Scholarship coming up. And you all are great representatives of the scholars that we want to be selecting. So thank you so much once again for applying, and congrats. As I said, before we started taping, I would love for one day where we get to pay for the entire college education of students. So that's where we see the scholarship going. But like I said, do what you can with what you have right where you're at. And so we have the book scholarships now. So we're wrapping this podcast episode up, which is crazy. I really enjoyed learning more about your story. Of course, I'm a resource no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're in college, a professional. I'm happy to be in your corner. I'm rooting for you. Our whole team is rooting for you as you go on this journey to complete your STEM degree. But I have one last question, and that is for both of you all to answer. If there is a student out there, they could be in high school, they could be in middle school, they could be a freshman like you in college, and they're interested in STEM or maybe experiencing the difficulty of STEM. What would you tell them? Hey, I want to get into STEM. I'm interested in it. How do I go about it? What are some things I need to know? So, Cara, we'll start with you. What would you tell them?
Definitely start doing your research. There's a lot of fields in STEM, and also you gotta have have to have a drive and a passion for it. I mean, this is a stressful job. It can be a workload that is very overbearing at times. But if you love your job, it's going to be easier. Also, you got to put in some work. These classes that I'm taking now, Miss Cara didn't get no lower than a B in high school. I'm getting my D's and F's. So I was like, hold up, I gotta put more work and effort into it, and also just do better at time management. Do not procrastinate like me. Do not procrastinate. I'll say that again.
It's a struggle for all of us. Look.
Yeah, and find some support within people that gonna help you and go to tutoring. Tutoring, I gotta say that's number one.
I love that. That's great advice. That's awesome advice. And just something that you said there, I experienced too. Sometimes when you're in high school, and once again, I didn't get anything lower than a B either. So when I'm like looking at a C, I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? But like you said, sometimes it's really learning how to learn. And I think, so for any student out there, like understand that it is a normal thing at times when you come from high school into college and you're like, wait, the ground feels like it's shifting underneath me. Like, why is this not the way it was before? And so having to pivot and adjust those study habits and learn new skills is definitely a part of the journey. So I'm glad you called that out. So David, what would you say?
Like she said, do your research for sure. Do your research. Don't procrastinate because I'm paying for it this second semester badly. And then there's 2 quotes. My dad always tells me, honor God and he'll honor you. And then head up, chest out. So even if it's hard, keep your head up, keep your chest out. At least portray that you have the confidence. So then when you do get the confidence, it's already there.
I love that. Very, very powerful. Yes. Honor God and he will honor you. I'm definitely a firm believer in that. And, kind of, once we said it before with the song, see it before you see it, trying to have that confidence and getting the support, like you said, Cara, I think is very important. So both great answers. I'm so proud of y'all. I can't wait. My vision and my goal is to have you back on this podcast, years from now when you're working as a STEM professional and we get to celebrate and kind of talk about and maybe even look back at this moment like, wow, look at us back then and look at us now. And I'm gonna have all these grays, in the hair and stuff. But no, I really appreciate you all being on the podcast today. STEMusic Nation, cheer them on, support them. And once again, if family, friends, mentors, mentees, anyone who's looking for a scholarship opportunity, we do have that STEMusic Book Scholarship. And by the way, the deadline for the scholarship application is going to be May 3rd, and we will announce the winners on June 14th. So definitely want to apply. Check out the website. Thank you so much for being on the STEMusic Podcast Next Generation.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Everywhere we go, call it STEMusic. People gotta know. Call it STEMusic. We gon' make it flow. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic.